What about Hone? Are you seeking a cup of tea with anybody?
I've been offered a cup of tea from a number of people, but I'd rather not announce who they are right now.
Well, tell us. You're amongst whānau, Hone. You're amongst whānau now.
Right after this, I'm going upstairs to have a cup of tea with my wife. That's always
probably the best cup of
great
tea.
Start.
Right. Well, thanks to all our politicians for catching those early flights and driving to be with us here today. We do really appreciate your time. Thank you all. I hope you get some rest over the next few weeks. It's been a big and long election campaign. Tēnā koutou and all the very, very, very best.
Good.
So let's go back to our commentators for their comments and their analysis. Willie Jackson, there you have it. How optimistic do you feel with what you've heard today?
Oh, you know, we've got some real talent there, no doubt about it. Good to hear the kōrero from Tariana Turia in terms of whānau order. Real important kaupapa for our people.
Interesting point there. Whānau order's back on the table. Absolutely. And she wants some more money.
Oh, no, why shouldn't she want some more money? You know, they're not going there just, you know, have a cup of tea, and so she needs to drive that. She's going to do that. It's just going to be fascinating how the next few weeks play out to see if there's some sort of accord.
JT, how much leverage do you think the Māori Party have? They've lost a couple of MPs, but obviously, you know, quite pivotal.
Well, let's get some real reality again into the conversation. Half the country voted against a national-led government, right? Anyway, you cut the numbers. So you had half voted against national. The way the numbers fell, the Prime Minister's got the largest mandate of a minority majority. So that's a fact. The second fact is they will need the Māori Party more desperately this time. 2011 to 2014, torrid economic times coming forward. Major problems in the criminal justice area if we don't sort it. They will need the Māori Party to give them ballast on the other side of the equation, otherwise they'll be seen to be right-wing Neanderthals. So the leverage that the Māori Party has got this time around, even though it's lost 2 MPs, is still quite extraordinary if you think about it. That will tax the Māori Party in any negotiation because of the adverse impact that's just happened with them. Okay, so their leverage is great right now. Key needs them more than... And I want to dispel the illusions of a number of the commentators. They always underrate the requirement that National needs the Māori Party to give it ballast on the left. And if it doesn't get that, it's in some major problems heading into this. And you've got Winston Peters, who's just there as an attack dog, and all those people that were heavily medicated that voted for him probably did it for that reason.
OK, Maria Barge, what about this whole kōrero about uniting, coming together? Because actually it doesn't mean anything, does it really? Because they all stood under 3 different parties. They're standing under 3 different parties. You're never ever going to get that unity that Parekura was talking about and some of the others as well.
I think a key question here is around the longevity of the Māori Party, and I think it would be very unwise to go back into a confidence and supply arrangement. I think that one option they should perhaps consider is a memorandum of understanding, work on a project-by-project basis.
So your advice is not to sit down at the table?
Well, they can sit down at the table, but work on a project-by-project basis, pick the things that they've said in their election manifesto they really care about, whānau order, maybe a parliamentary commissioner for the treaty, a couple of the social policy issues, work on those each. Those are things that can be ticked off easily. When we get to 2014, people will be able to see the specific gains, and I think it would be very unwise to be associated with the things that National's about to embark on.
So don't enter into a confidence and supply agreement with National?
I think the memorandum of understanding, working on a project-by-project basis, would be a good way forward. It needs to be rebuilding. Their vote's been slashed in half. That has to be a major consideration.
Do you agree with that, Rawiri Taunui?
Well, I think if Tariana has a cup of tea with Peter Sharples, the invoice might read $100 million. So that might be one way to go. But with this election, I think there are probably 2 or 3 things that have been really paramount. One has been the M&M battle, but the damage has been a way lot less than a lot of us feared. Probably, and not only in the Māori context, but right across the board, no one is really engaged and connected all the dots in terms of youth poverty, Māori child homicide and those sorts of things, and that is the major issue leading into the future. But if I can just say, this election for Māori has been about leadership. Hone's been really great. Peter, Tariana have really pulled the Māori Party back together. Nanaia was fantastic in the Waikato, just a really great speaker. But also the people that we haven't mentioned in this hui today are Matiria Tudate and Winston. You know, Winston, the greatest, the third resurrection after Jesus Christ, you know, it's been really phenomenal. But also all the new candidates, you know, Marae Hania on the East Coast, Clinton, there's so much talent. The next step for Māori is for a Māori to take leadership of one of the two mainstream parties.
Is that going to happen, Willie Jackson?
Well, as long
Shane
as,
Jones has been tipped, but I saw him this morning say, you know, he's not going to be putting his hand
he
up.
He wants to shoot off and do another job.
Will he last the next 3 years, just briefly?
No, I think he should be gone in 6 months. That's the reality for Shane. Although, as John said, you know, he fought a good... I mean, what a great result for someone who did nothing. There's no doubt about that.
That's the end of his political career,
well,
you think?
Look, I don't think Shane's interested. We all know Shane. He's got all the talent in the world. But, you know, he needs to be interested, and I don't think he's interested in being a backbencher. I think it's a good challenge. You know, we want someone in the mainstream party, so that's why JT... The rumour is JT could be coming back, actually, so we'll just sort of expose it here. And Labor... Look, Labor are lacking in talent, no doubt about it. You know, the best of the talent is leaving. My relation, Parekura, he's gone.
Are you making a comeback? Let's get a quick word from JT. Are you making a comeback? Are you going back in?
Hey, the last person that I'd choose to announce that would be Willie Jackson. Right?
Hey, I haven't got a prediction wrong. Watch for JT to come back. All right. We all know it's
we'll keep looking at that. Let's just go back to what Maria Baj was saying. Yeah. She's saying that the Māori Party shouldn't enter into a confidence and supply agreement.
Yes. Well, look, whatever it takes for the Māori Party. I mean, Maria talks a lot of sense here, because every minor party that's gone into government has suffered, whether it's the Māori Party, the Alliance, New Zealand First. So maybe we're looking for a new type of agreement. The Maria Baj agreement might be the agreement, but just have no doubt they have to go back into an agreement with National, despite what Mana...
So they have to work with them.
Well, they have to.
But in terms of what that agreement will be...
Well, that's interesting. You know, they should be hiring Maria Baj perhaps to work out the agreement, because, you know, confidence in supply, you're always implicated and tainted on every sort of kaupapa that's going.
But the reality is, though, because Dr Sharple said this morning that it's likely that they will want to have ministerial positions again, which will mean a confidence and supply agreement, JT.
Yeah, no, well, they're going to go and caucus on this straight after this, and they've had the worthiness of a wonderful suggestion from Maria and others. So they're not short on getting advice, whether they want it or not. So they'll go away and caucus on that. I just want to make one point before I finish making any contribution. What Hone Harawira has achieved for Māori is a lightning rod at one side that has made the advancement of Māori policy by Tariana Turia and Peter Sharples moderate and respectable. In the event that Hone wasn't around, they would be seen to be separatists, segregationists, and all this.
Well, they used to be.
They used to be. In fact, I used to say that, I think, on behalf of Labor. So you know, there's some fascinating things happening in our communities right now, and there's a lot of energy coming through. I think we're at tipping points, and I think 2014 is going to be a ripper, and that's where we really need to prepare ourselves.
Let's talk about 2014, Maria Baj. You spoke before too about the Māori Party needing to actually mobilise again and get their support together. What about Mana? What about Labor?
I think there are huge opportunities for Mana and Labor, depending on what the Māori Party does. They can capitalise on any mistakes that they make through the next campaign. They can keep hammering. So they've got a huge opportunity to take that kind of opposing position. And then I guess the other side for Mana is building up their infrastructure across the country. And that's a massive job, obviously, needing resources and
What about
energy.
New Zealand First and the Greens? Rawiri Taonui?
Well, obviously Winston and Metiri have done really, really well. I think in terms of a partnership with National, the Māori Party would be wise to go through the conversation with a very high price tag.
We've got a mic problem there, but let's move on to Willie Jackson. Just you know, briefly as we start to wrap our coverage up, just in terms of the any leverage that Hone Harawira may have. We're going to get Winston Peters back into the House. Right. As we know, he's a formidable debater, formidable in opposition. Is that going to shut Hone Harawira out?
Well, hardly. I think Hone's done a great job on his own. He's very lucky in that he's got a great movement out there. You know, Matt McCartan and all the troops are out there, and you know, he's done really well.
Will he last though? Because, and with respect to Hone, but will he last? Because it's hard. It's a hard slog in there, and especially being by yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, precedent tells us he'll last. Look at Anderton, for goodness sake. Look at Peter Dunn. He's been on his own for the last 6-9 years, hasn't he? So there's plenty of precedent, there's plenty of history. And Hone's a fighter, he's got a great campaign team behind him. I think it's going to be an exciting few years. And in terms of Winston, best opposition MP around, probably staying there for the next 6 years.
JT, is Gough gone?
Yeah, obviously gone. And
Just when, I suppose, is the question.
Yeah. The spill, I think, as Parikura was saying, the spill will more than likely occur after Christmas in February, and they'll just give them the mana of the time to roll that out.
Who are you tipping to take over Labour?
Oh, look, if I mention anyone now, I'll cut my lunch all over the shop.
Bring back JT.
So those talks are still going on. Yeah.
But obviously very important, especially given the Maori support there for Labour, as we've seen.
Yeah, look, I think they did themselves a huge injustice on the way in which the Moderation Committee chose their last list. It was lacklustre, no rejuvenation. They got the message that National got in 2002. Yesterday, they'll take that message on board and they'll come back a lot stronger for it. And our democracy in our country needs it.
OK, well, obviously the three parties there and who we've got here today, a lot of work for them over the next 3 years. Thank you all very much for joining us. And let's also thank the MPs for the next 3 years holding the Māori seats. Tēnā tātou katoa.